Dear teachers, welcome to JS in English Learning. We are with Unit 5 of PGTRB and we are with William Shakespeare's historical play, Henry IV, Part 1. We have seen the introduction, the background of the play, the context of the play. And in this session, we will discuss the characters in Henry IV, Part 1. When we say Henry IV, then immediately the title character is Henry IV, who was the King of England. When was King Henry IV King of England? He was a King of England from 1399 to 1413. 1399 இருந்து 1413 வரைக்கும் இங்கிலாந்தை ஆட்சி செய்த ஒரு அரசன். And this was he was the first person from the house of Lancaster. There were two families which were in war. One is the house of Lancaster, the other one is the house of York. YORK. அப்ப Lancaster dynasty அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்க. அந்த Lancaster dynastyல the first one to become the king is this particular man, particularly in the 15th century. 15வது நூற்றாண்டுல. அதுக்கு முன்னாடி லான்காஸ்டர் இந்த ஹவுஸ் ஆஃப் லான்காஸ்டர்ல இருந்து கிங்ஸ் இருந்திருக்காங்க. But in the 15th century, he was the first person to become the king. What was his original name? What was the original name of Henry IV? That may be a question. I think it has been asked in many competitive exams. The original name of Henry IV. Henry IV is the official name, but what was his real name? His real name was Henry Bolingbroke. And Henry Bolingbroke went against Richard II, his own cousin, and he overtook Richard II and he became the King of England. இதுதான் வரலாறு. Okay, now we get to know some historical information before getting into the actual description of the character in this play. Okay, in this play, we find this is historical information. Prior to Henry IV, that is Henry Bolingbroke becoming the king. Henry IV மாறுறதுக்கு முன்னாடி நடந்த கதையை வந்து ஒரு சின்னதா ரத்தின சுருக்கமா சொல்லிட்டோம்னா நல்லது. A short summary of what happened before the play begins. We find Henry was the son of John of Gaunt, who was the Duke of Lancaster. Okay, he was the son of John of Gaunt, who was the Duke of Lancaster, and he was the son of Blanche of Lancaster. So John of Gaunt is the father, and Blanche is the mother. And before becoming the king, he was known as Henry Bolingbroke. And we find that he was very supportive to Richard II. And his cousin Richard II, who was the then king, who was a king before Henry IV, he gave him some titles. What are the titles? He was named Earl of Derby in the year 1377. And he was also named the Duke of Hereford 1397. And you find that this man was very close to Richard II, but later on, you will find that there was a conflict between Richard II and Henry Bolingbroke. Did you get this information, teachers?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and he was not in active politics between 1377 to 1399. Only his father was in active politics, and this man was doing his work. But later we find that John of Gaunt departed from an expedition to Spain in 1386. That was the time when Henry entered politics as an opponent of the crown. When his father went out on an military expedition to Spain, Henry entered into the political game. And once he entered into political game, people started favoring Henry IV. And he won the heart of the people because Richard II was becoming a tyrant. So people started opposing Richard II, and they started favoring his cousin, Henry Bolingbroke. And we also find that Richard II was also was also targeting Henry Bolingbroke. How? You will find that there were two companions. Earlier they were companions, later they became enemies. Who are they? Henry Bolingbroke and Thomas Mowbray, okay, who was the first Duke of Norfolk. They were members of a group of 5 people who were known as the Lord Appellants. Okay, they were known as Lord Appellants. They were very close confederates, and they were opposing the government. They were opposing Richard II because the measures of Richard II was against the interest of the English people. English peopleக்கு எதிராக அவருடைய மூவ் எல்லாம் இருந்தது. எப்பொழுதுமே சண்டைக்கு போகணும் அப்படின்னு நினைச்சிட்டு இருந்தாரு. அப்ப மக்கள் எல்லாம் they were fed up with fighting war. They were suffering from heavy taxation and because of a famine. And that was a context in which Henry and Thomas Mowbray and you find 3 others, they joined together and they started opposing that particular ruler, Richard II. And you find that Richard II, he was gaining the upper hand. At that point of time, John of Gaunt returned to England and he tried to bring the 2 cousins together and they got reconciled. அவங்க 2 பேரையும் reconcile பண்ண வச்சது வந்து John of Gaunt, the uncle of Richard II and the father of Henry Bolingbroke. அப்ப அவரு உள்ள பூந்து அந்த 2 பேருமே கசின்ஸ், ஏன் பங்காளிங்க, அந்த பங்காளிங்க 2 பேரையுமே என்ன பண்றாரு, சமாதானப்படுத்திட்டு என்ன பண்றாரு, பாலிங்ப்ரூக் இங்க இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்காது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு he is sent on a crusade into Lithuania. Okay, he was sent into Lithuania in the year 1390, and later he was also in Prussia fighting a crusade. What do you mean by crusade? In Tamil it is called Siluvai Yutham, holy wars. Okay, so he was there, but even when Henry Bolingbroke was away, Richard did not forgive Henry Bolingbroke. Outwardly he was very good fellow, but inwardly he had a grudge towards Henry Bolingbroke. So what did he do? In the year 1398, he got an occasion to punish Henry Bolingbroke. What was the occasion? The occasion was Henry Bolingbroke and Thomas Mowbray. They were having a quarrel. They were having a quarrel, and the quarrel was brought before the king. And what did the king do? He banished Henry Bolingbroke. Okay, he banished Henry Bolingbroke, and you will read it in Richard II, the play. அவரை பேனிஷ் பண்றாரு. 7 years he was not supposed to return to England. But you find something troubles Henry Bolingbroke. He immediately accepts that particular punishment. He goes away. But later he comes to know that his father, John of Gaunt, dies in February 1399. And an action of King Richard II disturbs Henry Bolingbroke. What is that? அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, the estate of John of Gaunt is taken by Richard II and it is made the government's property. And when this was proclaimed, Henry was actually deprived of what is due to him. So what did he do? He started invading England with his close associates. There were many people who were following Henry IV. So he returned to England in July 1399, and many English noblemen, they joined hands with King Richard II. And this particular opposition was very much supported by the common people. So Richard II was fighting with Henry Bolingbroke, and there was a situation when Henry Bolingbroke was becoming very powerful. At that point of time, King Richard II felt that it was not good for him to continue fighting. So he started negotiating with Henry Bolingbroke. And the first demand made by Henry Bolingbroke is that Richard II returns his father's property to him. The second thing is Richard II, without any opposition, must hand over the crown to him. And Richard II demanded only one thing, that he should be allowed to leave the kingdom peacefully. But Bolingbroke did not do that. What did Bolingbroke do? Bolingbroke arrested King Richard II and placed him for a short while in the Tower of London. And then he was moved to another prison. And Henry Bolingbroke, who later became Henry IV, he assumed the crown as and took the name King Henry IV. And what did he do? He appointed a nobleman and eliminated King Richard II in prison. Okay, and later in this play, you will find there are references to what Henry IV was planning to do. Okay, so you find that Richard II abdicated the crown. He was giving up the crown on September 30th, 1399, and then Bolingbroke became Henry IV, and he claimed that it was his right. Becoming the king was his right because King Henry III was ruling England between 1216 to 1272. So he said, I am a descendant of King Richard III, so I have all the right to depose a tyrant and become the king. This was the historical information that you need to know regarding King Henry IV. When King Henry IV became the king, this play, the present play, does not begin. It begins after a few years, where you find that though Henry is not very old, he appears to be old. He appears to be old because he is filled with a lot of worries. He is filled with a lot of mental tortures. What is that mental torture that he is suffering from? The mental torture is he is pricked by guilt conscience. What is that guilt conscience? He has deposed the king, his own cousin, by opposing him and fighting civil war and eliminating King Richard II, which was against the norms. Actually, in English background, you need to understand that the kings were considered to be the direct descendants from God. You will find later in the 16th century, there will be a theory which will be formulated. It's called the divine right of the king. That the king is the alter ego of God. அப்போ ஒரு அரசன் வந்து கடவுளுக்கு ஒத்தவன், அப்போ அந்த கடவுளை வந்து நம்ம டீபோஸ் பண்றோம் அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா that itself is a crime. And when you eliminate the king who is defenseless, that is another crime. So he is very much guilt stricken. At the same time, you find that some of the old friends, some of the noblemen who were with Henry Bolingbroke, that is Henry IV, they have started revolting against Henry Bolingbroke, that is Henry IV. In the play, Henry IV, part 1, we find that Henry is not with peace of mind. அவருக்கு peace of mind என்பதே இல்லாமல் போகிறது. ஏன் அப்படின்னா முன்னாள் நண்பர்கள் இப்போது எதிரியாக நிற்கிறார்கள். ஏன் எதிரியா நிற்கிறாங்க அப்படிங்கிறதுக்கு reasons வந்து in the course of the play we will come to know. Some of the friends who helped Henry Bolingbroke to depose Richard II are now turning enemies to Henry Bolingbroke, that is King Henry IV. So Henry IV is very much troubled mentally. The second thing is a personal problem. In a personal problem, his son, the crown prince, known as Prince Harry, was very, very irresponsible. He was a very irresponsible fellow. He was all the time in the taverns. எப்பொழுதுமே எங்க இருப்பாரு? அரண்மனையில இருக்க மாட்டாரு. எப்பொழுதுமே he will be in the taverns. Okay? He will be in the taverns. He will be drinking. He was highly dissipated, a very careless young fellow. And in this play, when the play begins, we will find that King Henry the Fourth becomes very, very secluded. He is almost secluding himself. And you will find that much of the action is not centered around King Henry the Fourth, but much of the action is centered around his son, who is emerging as, or who will emerge as, the next king. That is Prince Harry, and the rise of Prince Harry is the main focus of this particular play. So it is the second half of the life of King Henry the Fourth, which is actually is the subject matter for William Shakespeare's King Henry IV, Part 1. Are you with me, teachers? Did you understand what was being discussed?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Ipa, we move on to the emerging hero. Okay, it's almost like the emerging hero, rising star. I'll put it as rising star. Oh, where is it? It's gone. He is a rising star, but a star which is okay, a star which is considered to be very careless. This star is going to become the rising star. How is he going to become the rising star? That is what we are going to see. Okay. Now, what are the key informations? Harry was having a title. What was the title that he was holding? அப்படின்னா அவருக்குன்னு ஒரு ஏரியா கொடுத்துருப்பாங்க. அந்த ஏரியா அவருக்கான ஒரு டைட்டில் கொடுத்துருப்பாங்க. What is the title that Harry was holding? Harry was holding the title of Prince of Wales. He was named as the Prince of Wales. He was the king of Henry IV, and he will eventually become Henry the Fifth. ஐந்தாம் ஹென்றி என்று அவர் பிற்காலத்தில் அழைக்கப்படுவார். ஏன் அப்படின்னா ஹென்றி ஃபோர்த்துக்கு அப்புறம் அவர் தான் கிங் ஆக போறார். And sometime he is called by the name. அவருக்கு வேற வேற பேர்லாம் இருக்கு. He is called by the name Harry Monmouth. Who are the companions of Harry? அப்படின்னு பாத்தீங்கன்னா Harry will be always having the companionship with highwaymen, highway robbers, and he will be always having company with whores, prostitutes. அவன் கூட இருக்கிறது எல்லாமே dissipated young men, immoral fellows. எப்பொழுதுமே எங்க இருப்பாரு? எங்கெல்லாம் சத்திரம் சாவடி இருக்கோ அங்க இருப்பாரு. எங்கெல்லாம் வந்து நாடகம் போடுறாங்களோ டென்ட் கொட்டா இருக்கோ அங்கெல்லாம் இருப்பாரு. நீங்க எஜமான் படம் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க. சாரி, நாட் எஜமான், முத்து, ரஜினியுடைய முத்து படம் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க. அதுல பாத்தீங்கன்னா சரத் பாபு வில் பி தட் கைண்ட் ஆஃப் மேன். எங்கெல்லாம் நாடகம் கூத்து போடுறாங்களோ அங்கெல்லாம் போய் முன்னாடி ஆளா இருப்பாரு. அதே மாதிரிதான் ஹாரி இஸ் ஆல்வேஸ் வித் people who enjoy their lives. But apparently he is like that, but deep within he wanted to become a noble prince. That is his secret project. Without the help of anybody, he wants to emerge as a noble man. Okay, and you will find that initially we have very negative opinion about the character, but when Henry the Fourth is facing lot of opposition, he will send for Prince Harry. அவருக்கு ஒரு மெசேஜ் அனுப்புவாரு. Your father is facing lot of opposition. I want you to come and help me. அப்படின்னு சொன்னா நம்ம என்ன எதிர்பார்ப்போம்? என்னால முடியாது, நீங்க உங்க வேலையை பார்த்துக்கோங்கன்னு சொல்லுவாருன்னு. ஆனா இவர் என்ன பண்றாரு? He immediately returns to his father and he is a very strong supporter to his father. அப்பா ஒரு சைடுல ஆர்மியோட போறாரு, பையன் ஒரு சைடுல ஆர்மியோட போறாரு. And whatever be the battle that he wins, he fights, he wins. And he emerges as a promising would-be king. And King Henry the Fourth becomes very happy about his son. இந்த பிளே எண்ட் ஆகும்போது அதே மாதிரி தான் இருக்கும். என்ன பண்ணுவாரு, அப்பா வந்து இந்த பிளே ஹென்ரி த ஃபோர்த் பார்ட் 1 முடியும் போது அப்பா சொல்லுவாரு, ஓகே ஆல்மோஸ்ட் ஆல் த ரெபலியன் இஸ் புட் டவுன் except for 1 or 2 fellows who are around, and he hands over that particular work to put down the other rebels into the hands of Prince Hal. Okay, Prince Harry கிட்ட விட்டுட்டு இவர் என்ன பண்ணுவாரு, he will plan to move towards the Holy Land to make a reparation for the sin that he has committed. What is the sin? Eliminating King Richard II inside the prison. உள்ளேயே ஆளை வச்சு போட்டு தள்ளிடுவார். And later he will assume innocence and even punish the man who eliminated King Richard II. Did you get that? Did you understand the second character, Prince Harry? Yes, teachers? Yes. Shall we move to the third character? Yes. We are moving into the third character, and the third character is named Hotspur. Who is this Hotspur? If you ask, Hotspur is the son and the heir of Earl of Northumberland. Okay, make a note of all these informations. It will be very vital. He is the son of the Earl of Northumberland, and he is likely to be the next Earl of Northumberland. Okay, Jaga Suresh ma'am is asking, who eliminated whom? Henry IV, that is Henry Bolingbroke, eliminated Richard II, who was the ruler before him, and then he became the King of England. Did you get that, teachers? Richard II was the first ruler, and after Richard II comes Henry IV. Who is that Henry IV? What is his real name? The real name is Henry Bolingbroke. He was the cousin to Richard II. So he fought against Richard II because Richard II was becoming a tyrant. He took away his father's property from him. And so he was angry, and he got support from the common men and the noblemen. And one of the noblemen who supported Richard IV in his civil war against Richard II was Hotspur. And the Hotspur, in the play Henry IV part 1, will be a rebel, one of the opponents to Henry Bolingbroke, that is Henry IV. When the Hotspur yaru அப்படினு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, he is the son of Earl of Northumberland. Northumberland is a place. அங்க இருக்கக்கூடிய நோபல் மேனுடைய மகன், and he is likely to become the next Earl. Earl அப்படிங்கிறது ஒரு பொசிஷன், ஒரு பிரபு அப்படின்னு சொல்றாங்களே, அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு டைட்டில். And he is also the nephew of Earl of Worcester. Worcester அப்படிங்கிற இடத்துல ஒரு பிரபு இருந்தாரு, அந்த பிரபுவுடைய nephew. And what is the real name of Hotspur? This is very important. Often they ask such character-based question. His real name is Henry Percy, but okay, he was also called as Harry, and he was also called as Percy. Why was he called Hotspur? It was a nickname. Hotspur was a nickname. Why was he given this nickname? Because by nature he was very fearful in the battle, and he was very hasty in action. சண்டைன்னு வந்துட்டா அவர் என்ன பண்ணுவாரு, ரொம்ப உக்கரமா இருப்பாரு. அதனால அவருக்கு பேரு ஹாட் ஸ்பர். காம்பினேஷன் ஆஃப் 2 words. ஹாட், எப்பொழுதுமே சூடா இருப்பார். அதே நேரத்துல when there is a slight provocation, he will be very fast to act. யாராவது அவரை எதிர்த்து அப்படி லைட்டா ஏதாவது ஒரு சின்னதா டிஸ்டர்பன்ஸ் இருந்துச்சுன்னா உடனே எடுத்து கத்தி எடுத்து குத்த போயிடுவார். அந்த மாதிரி ரொம்ப ஃபாஸ்டா இருக்கக்கூடிய கேரக்டர். So he was named Hotspur. So Hotspur is a nickname given to Henry Percy, and Henry is also known as Harry. Don't confuse with the son of Henry the Fourth. Sometimes people get confused. Now we come to know some vital information. என்ன அப்படின்னா, Hotspur is a member of a powerful family. What is the name of the powerful family? It is called Percy family of the northern part of England. And why should we speak about the family? This family helped Henry IV to become the king. Okay, Henry the Fourth வந்து பாலிங் ப்ரூக்கா இருந்த போது, ஹென்ரி பாலிங் ப்ரூக்கா இருந்த போது அவர் பக்கமாக இருந்து என்ன பண்ணாங்க, ரிச்சர்ட் தி செகண்டுக்கு எதிராக போரிட்ட ஒரு குடும்பம். அப்ப இவன் என்ன பண்ணான் அப்படின்னா, அவங்க உதவி செய்த போது உங்களுக்கு நான் கைமாறாக ஒரு சில விஷயங்கள் செய்வேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருந்தாரு. ஆனா அரசனானோன்னு சுத்தம் அதெல்லாம் மறந்துட்டான். இப்ப இருக்கக்கூடிய அரசியல்வாதிகள் மாதிரிதான், நான் வந்து ஒருவேளை பிரைம் மினிஸ்டர் ஆகிட்டா அல்லது சீஃப் மினிஸ்டர் ஆகிட்டா என்ன பண்ணோம், நேச கட்சிகளுக்கு இதெல்லாம் செய்வேன், உங்களுக்கு இந்த போஸ்டிங் பின்னாடி நான் போட்டு தரேன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. ஆனா இவங்க என்ன பண்ணுவாங்க, அவங்கள சப்போர்ட் பண்ணி அவங்களுக்கு ஆட்சி அமைக்கும் ஆட்சி அதிகாரம்லாம் கொடுத்ததுக்கு அப்புறம் அந்த கட்சிகளை கண்டுக்கவே மாட்டாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ரூலரா ஹென்ரி தி ஃபோர்த் மாறினதுனால என்ன பண்ணாங்க, the Percy family was very much upset with Henry the Fourth. So Hotspur turned against Henry the Fourth. Did you make note of all these things, teachers? உங்களுக்கு இந்த இதுல டவுட் எது இல்லையே? Okay, now in this play, who is the arch rival to Henry the Fourth? அப்படின்னு சொன்னீங்கன்னா, it is Hotspur. Let's put it like this: Henry the Fourth versus Hotspur. When we say Hotspur, it is the Percy family. So the conflict between Hotspur and Henry the Fourth, that is the subject matter of this play. In the play உடைய main focus அதுதான். Sorry. Yeah, the main focus of this play is the conflict between Henry the Fourth and Hotspur, and how many noblemen joined hands with Hotspur, and how Henry the Fourth got the help from his son, Prince Harry. இதுதான் நம்ம பிளே உடைய மெயின் ஃபோக்கஸ். Now இவரை பத்தி சொல்லும் பொழுது, ஹாட்ஸ்பரை பத்தி சொல்லும் பொழுது, we come to know that he is quick tempered, short tempered, very very impatient. He was not a patient man, impatient, ready to fight. And this man was highly obsessed with the idea of honor and glory. அவருக்கு எது ரொம்ப முக்கியம் அப்படின்னா, honor and glory. Once my family was having the past glory, but now we have lost it, let me regain it. அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு போராட்டத்தில் தன்னுடைய குடும்ப பெயரை காப்பாற்றணும். அந்த குடும்பத்திற்கு களங்கம் விளைவித்தது யார் அப்படின்னா ஹென்ரி தி ஃபோர்த். ஏன் அப்படின்னா அரசனுக்கு எதிரான குடும்பம் அப்படின்னு உனக்கு ஒரு இமேஜ் கிரியேட் ஆகி போச்சு. ரிச்சர்ட் தி செகண்டுக்கு எதிராக இவர்கள் திரும்பியதனால் அதுக்கு ஏதாவது பிராயச்சித்தம் இவர் பண்ணுவார்னு பார்த்தாங்க, பிராயச்சித்தம் பண்ணல. அப்ப தன்னுடைய குடும்பத்தின் அந்த கௌரவத்தை காப்பாற்றணுங்கிறதுக்காக now he turns against Henry the Fourth. Now we have a very famous comical character, one of the most liked character by Queen Elizabeth. Okay, you know Queen Elizabeth favored William Shakespeare. He was one of the favorite playwrights for Queen Elizabeth. ஏன்னா நம்ம எலிசபெத்தன் ஏஜ்ல தான் ஷேக்ஸ்பியர் வராரு. அப்ப குவீன் எலிசபெத்துக்கு ரொம்ப ஃபேவரட்டான ஒரு பிளே ரைட் அப்படின்னு சொன்னா வில்லியம் ஷேக்ஸ்பியர். தோ ஷி லைக் த அதர் பிளே ரைட்ஸ், வில்லியம் ஷேக்ஸ்பியர் அளவுக்கு யாருமே அவங்களை இம்ப்ரெஸ் பண்ணல. அந்த குவீன் எலிசபெத்துக்கு ரொம்ப ஃபேவரட்டான ஒரு கேரக்டர் யாரு அப்படின்னா சர் ஜான் ஃபால்ஸ்டாஃப். He was a comical character. Okay, a comical character, and How is he described அப்படின்னு கேட்டீங்கன்னா, he is short but very stout. ரொம்ப அப்படியே கனத்த ஒரு சின்ன யானை நடந்து வருவதை போல ஒருவர். why was he presented like that அப்படின்னா, he was into the habit of drinking and he is considered to be an opportunist and a coward. பயந்தாங்குழி, ரொம்ப பயந்தாங்குழி. அந்த பயந்தாங்குழினால வரக்கூடிய ஹியூமர் இந்த ஹிஸ்டாரிக்கல் பிளேல காமிக் ரிலீஃபே வந்து சர் ஜான் ஃபால்ஸ்டாஃப். Shakespeare was making this character appear as a comical character and he was satirizing some of the cowards in the nobility. இந்த நொபிலிட்டியில இருக்கக்கூடிய கவர்ட்ஸை வந்து என்ன பண்றாரு, சட்டாரைஸ் பண்றதுக்காக இந்த கேரக்டர் கிரியேட் பண்ணாரு. அப்புறம் என்ன பண்ணாங்க அப்படின்னா, குவீன் எலிசபெத் personally requested William Shakespeare to present John Falstaff as a hero. கொஞ்சம் ஹீரோ மாதிரி அவரை கொஞ்சம் காட்டுங்களேன் அப்படின்னு கேட்டாங்க. அதுக்காக வில்லியம் ஷேக்ஸ்பியர் ஆல்சோ பிரசன்டட் சர் ஜான் ஃபால்ஸ்டாஃப் as a hero in two other plays. ஏற்கனவே நம்ம அதை இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷன் பார்க்கும்போது பார்த்தோம். Am I right, teachers? Sir John Falstaff appears though as a comical character, also as heroic character in two other plays of William Shakespeare. He appears in 3 plays. What are the 3 plays, teachers? One is Henry IV. Then
Merry Wives of Windsor, sir.
Merry Wives of Windsor. Then one more. Okay, so you can recall that information. Okay, now we move on to this Sir John Falstaff. I had given the overall, but I'll focus on a few things. A very fat man, an old man. What happened? My goodness. Give me 1 minute, teachers. I'll pause the recording. Okay, so Sir John Falstaff is one of the favorite comical characters of Queen Elizabeth, and he is portrayed as a fat old man, and he is described to be a character around 50 or 65. Okay, and he is found all the time in taverns on the wrong side of London. And he is making his living as a thief, highwayman, and a wanderer. இவருடைய ஏரியாவே அதுதான், highway thug life. And we find that he becomes a very close companion to Prince Harry. Prince Harry உடைய ரொம்ப close friend and a sort of mentor in the dissipated life. இவர் எதுக்காக வந்து அவருக்கு மென்டார் அப்படின்னு சொல்றோம் அப்படின்னா, he is training Prince Harry to become a very good criminal and a vagabond. And you find that Prince Harry makes fun of him on several occasions. He makes fun of Sir John Falstaff on several occasions. And then you have a few characters, that is Earl of Westmore. Who is Earl of Westmore? This character is a valuable ally of King Henry IV. He is a nobleman and a military leader. He is very close companion to King Henry IV. So he is a positive character, not an opponent character, positive character. Then you find Lord John of Lancaster. Who is this Lord John? When you see Lord John is the younger son of King Henry, and he is the younger brother to Prince Harry. And John is a very good warrior. Though he is a young fellow, he is very wise and he is very valiant in battle. Better than Prince Harry. But Prince Harry should become the next king. That is how fate has destined him. Then you have another good character, a character on the side of King Henry IV. That is Sir Walter Blunt, who is also a very good warrior. And then you find Thomas Percy. Okay, this character is an enemy character. He comes in the rebellion, the gang of rebels. Thomas Percy. Who is Thomas Percy? Okay, it's given as Earl of Worcester. Okay, Hotspur's uncle. And how do we describe him? In the play, you'll find him to be very shrewd and manipulative. And he is the mastermind behind the Percy rebellion, which took place during the reign of Henry IV. And then you have Henry Percy. Henry Percy is the father of Northumberland, and he is Hotspur's father, again among the rebellious gang. Okay. And now this Northumberland, what is he trying to do? Northumberland conspires and raises troops on the Percy side, and he claims that he is sick before the Battle of Shrewsbury and does not actually bring his troops into the fray. This is why we find fault with Henry Percy. And then you have Edmund Mortimer. Who is Edmund Mortimer? Again, they are people who join hands with Hotspur in rebellion. He is the Earl of March. March அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு இடத்துல இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு பிரபு. And this man is the son-in-law of a rebel from Wales. வேல்ஸ்ல ஒரு ரெபல் லார்ட் இருக்காரு. கிங் ஹென்ரிக்கு எதிராக களம் இறங்கக்கூடிய ஒரு மனிதன். அவர் பேர் வந்து ஓவைன் கிளென்வேர். அவருடைய son-in-law is Edmund Mortimer. So all these people will join hands with the Percy family. And we find that Mortimer character in William Shakespeare's play is a combination of two separate historical figures. Who are they? One is Mortimer, the other one is Earl of March. Historyல இவங்க ரெண்டு பேரும் வேற வேற. ஆனா ஷேக்ஸ்பியருடைய பிளேல இந்த ரெண்டு பேரையுமே ஒன்னா சித்தரித்து இருப்பார். Did you get that, teachers? Why was Mortimer opposing Richard IV? Because Mortimer was claiming the throne of England before Henry Bolingbroke stepped into the scene. அதற்கப்புறம் we have Owain Glendower. Owain Glendower இதை பத்தி நம்ம PGTRB previous year questionsல questions இருந்தது question paperல. என்ன அப்படின்னா, who is Owain Glendower in Henry IV? He was the Wales rebel, and he is the father of Lady Mortimer. And what did he do? Glendower joined hands with Percy against King Richard IV. Richard IV எதிராக களம் இறங்கினார், பாளையம் கண்டார். And we find that we come to know that this man is well educated. Okay, Owain Glendower, well educated man. He was educated in England, and he is a very good warrior. And he was also very deeply rooted in traditional folklore of Wales. And he was also very good at music and magic. Okay, and we find that Shakespeare presents him as a very mysterious character. And he is described as a very mysterious character. அதற்கப்புறம் you'll find other rebels. ஒரே ஒரு ஆளு ஹீரோ, அந்த ஹீரோக்கு எதிராக நிறைய எனிமீஸ். One of the enemies is Archibald, the Earl of Douglas. Who is this man? அப்படின்னா, he was the leader of a large army of Scottish rebels. He is usually called as the Douglas. டக்ளஸ்னோன்னா உங்களுக்கு ஒரு படம் ஞாபகம் வந்திருக்கும். என்ன படம்? பருத்தி வீரன் மூவி ஞாபகம் வந்திருக்கும். It's unfortunate that it was a coincidence. இங்கே Douglas is a reference to a clan in Scotland which were very deadly and fearless. He also, Archibald also sided with the Percy and he was raising his flag against King Henry IV. And on the side of King Richard IV, யாராவது இருந்தாங்களா சார் அப்படின்னா, you find Earl of Worcester. யாரு அப்படின்னா, Sir Richard Vernon. He was siding with Henry IV. And then you find another character, the Archbishop of York. What is the name of the Archbishop of York? கேள்வி கேட்க வாய்ப்புகள் உண்டு, அதனால தெரிஞ்சு வச்சுக்கோங்க. The name of Archbishop of York is Richard Scrope. Okay. And what is he doing? He is staying with King Henry and he conspires on the side of the Percy. Percyக்கு சாதகமாக செயல்படக்கூடிய ஒரு ஆர்ச்பிஷப், கூடயே இருந்து குளிபறிக்க கூடியவர். அப்புறம் நமக்கு மைனர் கேரக்டர்ஸ் வராங்க. யாரு அப்படின்னா, நம்ம சர் ஜான் ஃபால்ஸ்டாஃபோட இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு சில கேரக்டர்ஸ் இருக்காங்க. யாரு சார் அவங்க அப்படின்னா, one is net points. Okay, we need to know net points. Okay, sorry, I'll put it like that because it gets disturbed. Net points, then Baldolf and Peto, they are criminals and highwaymen. And where do they normally gather? This is also asked in competitive exam. Prince Harry, John Falstaff and his friends, they meet in Boar's Head Tavern. And then you have another highway friend to Harry. The person is Gatschil. And then you have in the tavern, there is a lady, the hostess of Boar's Tavern, Boar's Head Tavern. யாரு அப்படின்னா, Mistress Quickly. Okay. Mistress Quickly. And this particular tavern is situated in East Cheap, London. It's a cheap side London. அங்க இருக்கக்கூடிய ஒரு பர்டிகுலர் கேவன்ல தான் இவங்க எப்பொழுதும் மீட் பண்ணுவாங்க. These are the characters, the major characters and minor characters. And we will stop here and get back for the next session.